Hi, this is Frank Rodriguez Villela, and I want to welcome everybody to this is our fifth lesson for So You Think You Want to Play Guitar. We're still doing open string studies, but I want to introduce basically just probably two more lessons of just different note values. And here we're going to talk about the 16th note. And so below, I went ahead and I have three lines. They're written in 2/4. And 2/4 time is basically what I like using for lots of little studies. So it tends to work really well. And you just got to remember the number. And we're using 2/4. And if you see the number 2, which is here, the number 2 means 2 beats per measure. Okay. And then the number 4, which is here, represents the kind of note that receives the beat. So basically it's, in this case, it's a quarter note, and the quarter note is basically quarter note equals 1 beat. And I did this really small little, it's like a little pyramid. Basically 1, 2, and 3 are just the way, the breakdown. And basically the breakdown is that it's being subdivided in half. So there, when you subdivide a note, you're basically just cutting it in half. It's just an even cutting in half. So in this case, I showed that the quarter note is 1 beat, and then the 8th note is half a beat, and half of half a beat is a 16th note, which is a quarter beat. Okay, and the reason, so this is our newest little note value. So it's basically you're playing 4 notes in the same amount of time that you play 1. So it's basically dividing the 1 in 4 equally. They're subdivided equally. So basically it's just a particular, I call it real symmetrical, very straight. So we got to keep it pretty straight. And I want you to look at I did this on purpose so you can see the different ways we write 8th notes. So number 2 basically has the first beat has the 1 and that 1 and is these 2 notes are connected. So the 1 and, we call it beaming. So we beam the notes together, and it's basically 2 8th notes. But when you look at beat 2, I separated them, and I did it on purpose because sometimes people ask me, why does it look this way? Why does the stem down, the flag up? And why is this the stem is up and the flag down? And they do it for the reasoning of maybe they need a particular space and they need to move it one way or another. And it's out of convenience. But they're basically still, these 2 notes are played exactly like these 2 notes. There's no difference. It's 1 and 2 and. And so it would be basically, there's nothing different. It's basically 1 and 2 and, okay? So it's just the way people write it. So you can go stem down with 1 flag. The 1 flag represents the 8th note, okay? So it's just that same here, stem up, flag down, 1/8 note. All right, same thing with the number 3. Number 3 is basically, you have beat 1 and you're dividing the in 4, obviously 4 beats. So you have 1 and 2 and we're using, for the 16th note, we're using the 1, E, and So we're using basically letters to demonstrate the way the rhythm sounds. 1 E and 2 E and But these are also beamed together. So you have basically 4 16th notes played or beamed together, and they're played the same as these. Here I separated them. Here I put the 2 E, I connected those 2, but the and, I did the same thing that I did with number 2. Stem down, and then the 2 flags. And the 2 flags are basically represent the 16th note. So whenever you see 2 flags, it's a 16th note. So it's 2 E and And I also separated this one, but these 4 16th notes are the same as these. So when you play those, there's no difference. Again, they might write them out for, Actually, in vocal music, you see a lot of separation. There's separations when they separate. Sometimes these particular the notes, sometimes they're all separated because they're putting usually lyrics underneath the notes. So when they put lyrics, it's easier to disconnect them that way. This might be on a particular syllable and might be like I. This might say love, I love, whatever the lyric might be. It's sort of funny. But in vocal music, separation of the notes is very common. For guitar, it's not as common. You don't see it, but occasionally people do it. So it's just a way to do it to make it fit on the page and look correctly, or not correctly, but make it look easier to read. Okay, so it doesn't matter how we do it as far as connecting or disconnecting. So hopefully that answers that. In regular music, there's other things that we do when you start reading more music, but in this case, it's just for whatever's more convenient. It's a visual thing. Okay, so I hope this makes sense. It's a small little pyramid, and if I was to play that 1, 2, and 3 line, I would go. It would sound like this. I'm going to put them in order. So I'm going to use the 6th string, and I'm going to go 1, 2, number 2, 1 and 2 and 3, 1 E and a 2 E and up. So that's basically those particular two. But I'm just showing the breakdown in a pyramid form. Okay. Now I'm just going to do a real simple exercise using the 16th note. I'm keeping everything pretty much in 2/4 time. The only thing is on this one, the number 1, I decided to go ahead and do a particular, it's a 3-bar phrase. So lots of times in music, things repeat. There's a lot of repetition. So in this case, number 1 has this particular measure is actually quarter notes. So it's quarter notes, and then you have the 8th notes and the 16th notes. That's my pattern. So it's basically a 3-measure pattern. And then I'm going to do that same pattern on all the strings. In this case, I'm just going to go ahead and repeat it. So once we do all the strings, we work our way back down, and then just repeat it to 6. We can, we don't have to end. We can practice it however we want to. It's not whatever you feel comfortable. You can end it here at the end, or we can repeat and end it here. And we can basically, I didn't write a fine on there or an ending, but hopefully we can make it work. I am going to go ahead and I think we're using 65 beats per minute. Okay, so I think that's what we've been using. So I think it's a good, it's just a nice tempo. And so it's 2 beats. Remember to set your metronome at 2 beats. And so there it is. I always like, if you're using a metronome, I always like having the actual quarter note, and that's what sort of guides me. So I like the actual quarter note, and so we'll do one real quick so you can hear it. So that's the actual tempo. You hear it? 2, 1, 2. So the high one is 1, like always. And so the only thing I was going to say that I'm going to do, I'm going to let everything ring. So when I actually play the notes, when I'm actually doing the right hand, I'm going to go down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. So it's going to be what I call, still using the curve stroke. Some people, these kind of rhythms, when you hear them in rock music, you usually hear them muting it. So you'll hear this kind of like 1E and a 2E and a 1. And that creates that sort of almost a drum thing. And that's sort of cool thing. That's a nice thing to do. I don't know if you can see how my hand is doing, but my hand will actually, instead of having the curve like I've always liked, which is this basically up, and it's you're letting everything ring. 1 E and a 2 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a. When you want that other stuff that's so popular in rock music, it's actually I'm muting at the back, and I'm always putting basically the palm sort of even on top of the saddle, so it's on the saddle. That way I can get the actual note to ring. So it sounds like this. You can hear that it's an E. If you mute too high, it sounds like this. You don't want that sound. You want it to ring so it's where it's nice and full sounding as far as pitch. And so you can hear that this sounds the same as this. So there's no difference. I'm noticing my pick's making a little raspy sound. Sorry about that. So you can do your choice. I would say maybe just for practicing the wrist, go ahead and keep the curve sound. But just know that when you get the sound, you hear it on so many songs. I mean, you hear it on so many songs. I won't say what song that is, but I'm sure you know. All right, so let's try it, see how it works. We'll do number 1 first. It's a 3-bar phrases, and that's what this is. Sorry, I didn't mention that. So when you look at the 3 means that we're copying these 3 measures. So basically, the first measure is here, second measure is here, and then the third measure is here. And we're really just keeping that pattern. And it's much easier. A lot of people do shorthand type of stuff like this because it's just repetitive. It's stuff we use all the time, and there's no reason to write it out. All of it. There's number 1. 1, 2, ready, play. And you can look at the string. 5. 4. 3. 2. 1. 2. 3. 4. 5. Now 6. 1, 2, 1, and I'm going to stop here. 1 E and a 2 E and a. Okay, that was number 1, and I just did it once through, and I ended on the top. I ended basically here, so our fine was there. But you can keep playing it, and it doesn't matter. However, just so you can get comfortable with the rhythm. They gotta be straight. Remember, they gotta be straight. Here's number 2. So it's 1, 2, ready. And actually, on this one, really quick, it's just a two measure pattern. So you have measure 1, 4/8 notes, and then you have a measure 2, 8 16th notes. And so 1 is here, and then the second measure is here. And it's basically, they're called 2-bar. Whenever you connect them, those are the actual amount of measures we're repeating. Go number 2. 1. Here's a 1. 1, 2, ready, play. 1 and 2 and that's 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now, I'm not going to say anything. Okay, so that was number 2. Okay, number 3 is the same pattern. Okay, so number 3 is the same pattern, and I just was, just didn't write it down. But if you can see, we're actually skipping some strings. So it's going to 6 to 4, 5 to 3. We've done it in the past. So it's just something good to do to be able to sort of move this particular type of rhythm on different strings. So basically we have, this one is obviously here, and the 16th notes are going to be here, but we're going to skip. So we're going to skip the pattern. So it's going to sound like this, so you can hear it. So it's like 1, so it's 1, 2. Listen first, it's going to go 1 and 2 and 4. Then 5. Skip to 3. Okay, so basically the same rhythm. I didn't change anything. So I just was too lazy about writing out the notes. So it happens, sometimes we just get tired. All right, here's number 3 with skips. Okay, that's what this is about. 2, ready on the 6th string. Go to 4, 5, 3, 4, 2, 3, 1. Back to 3, 2, 4, 3, 5, 4. We're going to end on 6. 1 and 2 and 1 and a 2 and up. Okay. So that was basically the same rhythm as 2, same pattern, but skipping strings. And you can repeat it. I didn't put it in repeats, but you can repeat it just to make it, just to make your own little extra actual practice. The more we practice, especially these kind of patterns, because they are demanding. They're the kind of patterns that it takes precision. Whenever I hear the 16th notes, 1 E and a 1 E and a, I think of like a train. It's definitely a real machine sounding thing. Okay, now the next one, this is going to be, took me a little while just to think if it's something we should do, but it's about the 8th note triplet. Okay, and in this case, took me a little bit just to think if it's something we should do, but reality, triplets are on so much music. Triplets, it was really popular to write with triplets back in the 40s and 50s, where you heard basically where rock started to come into popularity, but so much of the rhythms were triplets. And triplets is basically, it's an 8th note triplet is created by subdividing a quarter note. You divide the quarter note in 3 equal parts. So I did just a simple pyramid. So here's your quarter note, and its quarter note is 1 beat, okay? And then you have basically in that 1 beat, you have these 3 8th notes. It's basically each one, it gets a 1/3 of a beat. I know it's a crazy type of thing to think about, but it's probably something people just need to hear and feel. And so once they see the triplet, it's basically getting 1 note and then dividing it in 3 parts. And so in this case, this one's an 8th note triplet because these are 8 notes. That's basically 8 notes are represented by 1 beam or 1 flag. So these are 8 notes. And then there's a thing called, I guess it's called syllabized. And that is basically when we explain a particular rhythm, we are given it syllables so you know what it is or how it sounds. In this case, I'm calling it triplet, 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 triplet. It's not the way it's spelled. It's spelled with just a TRI and then P. But the pa is the second. Basically, the pa is the second note. The tri is the first letter or the first actual note. The pa is the second one, and the let is the third. So it's syllabized triplet. There's a lot of different ways. Sometimes people go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. I've heard people go 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3, 3, 3, 3, 4, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3. That's a little bit crazy, but I hear people count them all different ways. But they should be even. It's three equal parts per one beat. And this one sounds like this. You still have the alternating. When it comes down to the quarter notes, I'm downstroke, so I'm going down, down, triplet, triplet, down, down, triplet, triplet, down, down, triplet, triplet. So it has that sort of feel. So it is 1, 2, 3, or triplet. Yeah, there's so many. You're gonna hear different ways people count this out or symbolize it, or yeah. So they'll put different syllables in that. So it's many ways to do it. So we'll do the same thing, 65 beats per measure, and I'm gonna go ahead. And this one I created an ending. So we'll go ahead and go all the way through. Go to the fifth string, go back, and then when we go to 5, instead of repeating, we just end it on this sixth string. So I put it as an ending, or you can keep going until you're ready to end. You can play it as long as you want to. When you want to take that ending, you can take it as you wish. Okay, so we're going to use the same 65 for quarter note. So this is number 1. So it's 1, 2, ready. First one is 1, 2, triplet, triplet, 5, 4, triplet, triplet, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1. Back to 6. 5, and then 6, triplet. Okay. Now the next one is basically going to be just the 8 notes and the triplets. So you have sometimes people just do they'll actually want to do 8 notes. And then the 16 notes, but I think 8 notes are good to practice. So the 8 notes would go 1 and 2 and triplet, triplet, 1 and 2 and triplet, triplet. I think that's good for right now, just to get started. Sometimes they want to do the 16th notes, but we can save that for another time. So here's the tempo. Number 2, 1, 2, ready, 2. basically it. Those are the triplet. It is a tricky. Some people will use triplets in jazz music. It tends to swing. The swinging part is where it's really the swinging part. If you sort of think about it, or if you're in your brain, if you can sort of take this one out, the swing is here to there. It's best right now. We need to practice them all together. But when you actually play this particular part of the triplet, that's where you get that little swing sound, and you hear it in blues, you hear it in funk music, you hear it in jazz music, you hear it in regional music, you hear that usually on strumming, you hear that 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So people really change it up. It's very free, but it is strict. So there is a strict triplet. On some stuff, I sort of swung it a little bit just to get that feel. So hopefully this makes sense. It took me a little bit to think if it's something we should do now, but it's such part of music. Music really is, there's a lot of triplet on so many types of songs and music and styles. So I think it's an important rhythm. So thank you so much for checking it out. Hopefully it made sense to you. If you have any questions or any comments, just let me know. I love comments. If people can, the last lesson 4 did really well and had a lot of views. So hopefully, you keep watching. And if there's just any questions in particular, just go ahead and keep in touch with me, and I'll answer everybody as best as I can. And so just let me know. Remember to subscribe and to reach out if you have any questions. And I'll put descriptions, especially of the different things that I'm sort of using. This particular guitar is a Sunlight guitar. It's their 1600 model. I think it's called 1600 GCN. And it's really nice. It's a spruce top. I really like it. It's real simple. But I'm going to leave a description. That way, if you're interested, I can help you get one, or we can figure it out. Same thing with the strap. This is one of my Mariachi Villela straps that I really like, especially if you have an instrument you don't want to do any drilling. So it works out perfect, and I'll have descriptions, and if you want to get one, you can reach out to me and I can help you get one. All right, well, thank you so much, and I hope this made sense to you. Thank you.